Welcome back. 9 minutes away from 9 o'clock, starting a brand new segment here on the Morning News with Brenda Kozub, the owner of Tisol pet stores around the Lower Mainland. Thanks for coming in. So we're going to be talking over the next few months about different things that are out there for our pets. But today we thought we'd start off by talking about food, a very important part of being a pet owner. So what is the most important thing that we should look for when we're going to look for food?
I would say a few of the most important things you should look for is try and stay clear of byproducts. So you're going to want to look for the actual meat, like turkey, chicken, lamb. Meal is okay because that's just the dehydrated meat.
Right.
You want to look at your packaging that you actually know what kind of meat is in it.
Okay.
You don't want to just see meat meal because who knows what's in the meat meal. It could be anything. I like to have people looking for, if you're looking at a product that's going to have carbs in it being grains, I like to look for whole grains. So your whole grain of rice, your whole grain of barley, that sort of thing. You start again looking into some of the rice gluten and different things. You start adding those up and you just don't have a lot of anything going for yourself.
How important is price in buying food? Is the most expensive food you can find the best food and vice versa the cheapest the worst?
I would say mid-range to expensive. Cheap food is going to be cheap because there's going to be fillers in them.
Okay.
Again, as I say, the rice, or not the rice, but the corn, the wheat, this sort of thing.
You see a lot of corn as the first thing
you can,
some dog foods.
Or you start looking at it, there's going to be fractions of grains in it. When you start, I guess it's a good example. If you took your meat and put it in one little pile, and then you looked at all your different carbs that are in it.
Right.
You've got your corn gluten, rice gluten, this, that, whatever, and you add all those into a pile.
Right.
Even though they're way down the list, when you start adding them all together, you've got this little pile of meat and this huge pile of other stuff.
Okay.
So you're wanting to try and keep your meat higher.
Now, I mean, for our dog, we had a tough time finding food because she has a very sensitive stomach. So do you get a lot of questions in the store about my food's making my dog sick? What should I do?
Yeah, we get a lot of that, and thankfully, our staff is very, very well trained in nutrition, and not just on the food that I brought in today, but on all kinds of different foods. And they'll actually go through questions with you. Okay, how old is your dog? What kind of dog? You're saying it has a sensitive stomach. Okay, in your example, I would have asked you how old she was, or he or she. What you were feeding at the current time, just all those sorts of things to try and narrow it down. And then I would probably put you on to a really simple diet, something like maybe California Natural, which is chicken and rice. Okay. So you eliminate everything else and we just kind of build up from there.
Raw food had a huge following for a while. Pros and cons for raw food?
It still does have a huge following. There's a lot of people that are very dedicated to it and others that are, it's nothing. If I had small children in the house, I may be a little, I won't say against it, but not as for it. You've got to be very, very clean with it. The dog eats, the bowl's cleaned, the dog has a bone. If the dog's not chewing on the bone has to come away, be cleaned. Plus, they are much more protective of their food with raw. So if you got a little kid that, could come toddling along and stick their hand in, you want to be safe too. Yeah.
Okay. Well, good information. We didn't get into salamander food yet, but
another time.
Newts, dog and cat food. If you have any questions, you can email Brenda, brenda@tisol.ca, or pop into one of the Tisol stores where there are tons of folks who are willing to answer your questions.
Good to see you. See you in a couple of weeks. Thanks very much.
Thank you, for sure.
Thanks, Brenda.
Thank you.
Mark, you have cats, of course.
Well, I have one cat now, and I've had cats all my life, so yes, very well trained. They have me well trained.